Hi, I'm Richard Byrne. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create folders and how to manage folders in Google Drive, and also how to adjust the layout of your Google Drive. This is the second video in a series that I'm doing about the basics of Google Workspace that teachers should know when using Google Workspace in their classrooms and with their students. Let's go ahead and get started here. So we can see my Google Drive here, and we have a bunch of files and we want to start to organize these a little bit. So what we have here are the files that I've created myself and put into my Google Drive. On the left-hand side, we also have files that have been shared with me. I can just look at the shared with me files. Those are things that other people have shared with me. We'll talk about sharing settings a little bit later here. But what I want to do right now is create a new folder to start to organize these things. So let's go over here to New, and we want to create a folder. And we'll call this one Sample Materials. I'm going to create that folder, and now I can simply start moving things into that folder by clicking and dragging them into that folder. And we'll see that we get this message now that document 1 has been moved from Drive to Sample Materials. Now we can also do multiple materials at the same time. Let's do both of these, select both of them, and drag them. And I selected both of them by holding down the Control key and clicking on them. If you're on a Mac, hold down the Command key and click on them. I can also move materials into that folder by right-clicking. And when I right-click, I can then select the option to move this to a folder, and it'll give me a list of folder options. In this case, it's just sample materials that I have available, and I'll select Move. But really, the easiest way to do it is to simply click on them and drag them into that folder. Now I'll even move this one into that folder. But if I've accidentally put something into a folder and I don't want it to be in that folder anymore, well, let's go in and find it. So this one here, I don't want it to be in this folder. So what I can do with this is I can move to, once again, so I'm going to right click. I right clicked, I'm going to move to, and I'm going to take it out of sample materials, and I'm going to have it move here. And now when I go back to my drive, we'll see that that file is no longer inside of that folder. Now, if you're like me and you've been teaching for a long time and you have a bunch of materials already in folders on your Windows computer or on your Mac, or perhaps even on a thumb drive or flash drive or some other external drive, you can import those entire folders into your Google Drive very quickly and simply. Now, here's how this process works. You have two options. First of all, you can hit New and Folder Upload, or you can simply drag from your desktop into Google Drive like this. I'm going to click and drag, and that's going to now transfer that entire folder with the folder name into my Google Drive. Now, once that whole folder has been uploaded, I can access all the files that are in there. Now, if that folder included things like Word documents or PowerPoint files, those will be converted to Google Docs format if, in my settings, I have selected Convert Uploaded Files to Google Docs format. And in the previous video in this series, I gave a little more demonstration about those settings. So go back and watch that video if you didn't see it earlier. All right, so now we can see here that this folder of files has been completely uploaded, 42 of 42. I can now double click on that and I can look at all the files that are in here. Now, in this particular case, all of my files in this folder are pictures and videos that I have. But if they were documents, I'd also see those documents in there as well. Now I'm going to go back to my drive one more time, and let's look at how we can share these folders. So here I have this folder of pictures and videos for demos, and I have this sample materials. What I want to do is I want to share my sample materials folder with somebody else in my organization. So to do that, I'm going to right click on it. This will bring up the share button. I'm going to click share. And now I can invite other people to look at this. So I'll invite Richard. And the people I invite can be editors, viewers, or commenters. In this case, if I allow this person to be the editor, he or she will have access to not only open the files and work on the files, but also to add things into the folder and delete things from the folder if they want to as well. If they're viewers, they can simply view the contents of the folder and they won't be able to add anything to it, nor will they be able to edit anything within that folder. And if they're a commenter, they can view it and they can add comments, but again, they won't be able to add anything to the folder, nor will they be able to edit anything in that folder. Now you can invite multiple people, so I'm going to invite Max as well. So now Max is also an editor, and I will send that. And they're now able to access that folder and all of its contents. So it's important to remember that when you share a folder, anything in that folder can be viewed by the people that you share it with. This is very helpful for creating collections of resources within a department with a couple of colleagues. And we'll see here that there's now a little person icon within that folder, just as a little indicator or reminder that this folder is shared. Now, if I open up the folder, anything that I add into the folder will be shared with everybody else who has access to this folder, including if I go up here and create a new document, sheet, slide, or form, while I have this folder open, everyone will have access to it if they have access to this folder. Now, the last thing we want to look at here is the layout of our Google Drive. In the previous video, we went into the settings and we had turned on suggestions. And suggestions is what makes this row of files appear at the top. Google thinks that these are files I've recently used and might want to use again. Now, if I don't like that display, I can go into my settings, I can turn that off, and we'll see that those are now gone. Now, I tend to like the linear view of my files and folders. Some people prefer a grid view, and you can change that in the upper right-hand corner. Go from the list to a grid and back as many times as you want. So that's an overview of creating folders and sharing folders in Google Drive. In the next video in this series, we're going to start to create some documents to use inside of Google Drive. As always, for more tips and tricks like this, please check out freetech4teachers.com or subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified when the next video in this series is available.